Why are all these kids out on a chilly spring evening squeezing eggs from a fish? Why all this construction just to help a fish called shad travel upstream? Come join the students from the Southside Baptist Christian School and see how you can help save the American shad.
Janae Brooks, 5th grade.
Tiana Upshaw, 7th grade. Aaron Stinson, 6th grade.
Joshua Woolridge, 5th grade. Eric Fisher, 6th grade.
Anthony Jones, Southside Baptist Christian.
Along with the American shad, the James River through the city of Richmond holds an amazing diversity of fish.
Okay, who can tell me what this one is? It's a smallmouth bass. Yeah. Smallmouth bass, their jaw does not extend behind their eye. A largemouth bass would have a longer jaw. Eels they're the opposite of shad as far as their life cycle. These fish are what we call catadromous as opposed to anadromous. Anadromous are like the American shad. They live in the ocean and they come into fresh water to spawn. These fish are catadromous. They live in fresh water and they have to go back out to the ocean, to the Sargasso Sea, to spawn. And so this little guy, he came in from the ocean. Okay, this is a chub, most likely a bull chub. This is a quillback carp sucker, and these have real big scales. This fish right here is very similar to the American shad. It's in the same family of fish, but these fish live in the river year-round. It's called a gizzard shad, and they have a real identifying dorsal fin ray, dorsal fin being the top fin, and they have this long thread-like ray on the last ray of their dorsal fin. I think the world record's 100 pounds. Woo! That's a flathead catfish. You can see how broad and flat their head is. And he's just waving hi to you, actually. There. See how wide and broad? Now, see how big his mouth is? So he can eat almost every fish I showed you so far. And that's what they do. They eat a lot of those gizzard shad, and they'll eat pretty much anything.
From walleye to big smallmouth bass, they're all here in the James River. But where are the American shad? Shad make an amazing journey home, from their ocean wintering grounds off the coast of Florida, up the eastern seaboard, and through the Chesapeake Bay, back to Virginia. Shad are fish that return every spring to the river they were hatched in order to lay eggs and start the cycle again. Many shad call the James River home and swim up the river through the city of Richmond each year. Shad were once so plentiful that annual feasts became traditions. One of these is the Wakefield shad planking, marking the beginning of Virginia's political season.
Love that shad!
Until recently, both fishermen and farmers counted on the annual shad run to provide a cash crop, one that came dependably every year. Over time, however, the millions of fish that swam up the rivers were reduced to a trickle. The once abundant American shad are now in peril. Many little problems contributed to the decline of the shad, and one big problem: dams. Dams stopped shad from going upstream to their historic spawning grounds, and fewer shad were able to reproduce. Yet the demand for shad continued until most of the fish were gone. Even though the American shad is still in trouble, things are beginning to look up. The Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries is working to restore the American shad by breaching dams and by cultivating shad eggs in hatcheries. Here at Richmond's Bossier Dam, the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries and its partners designed a fishway that lets shad swim up and over the dam.
Okay, this is the fishway. We're going to talk a little bit about the fishway and how it works. And the river's 900 feet wide. So these fish have been swimming for literally thousands of miles. They're off the coast of Florida in the wintertime, and they swim up the east coast, and they come back to the river that they were spawned in. And so these fish are trying to get upriver to their spawning habitat, and the dam is in their way. So we have to get the fish to find the entrance to the fishway. So if you look at the entrance to the fishway, you see the water rushing out of there. See how it's nice and smooth flowing water, swift, smooth flowing water, and the water at the dam is very turbulent. There's a lot of air entrained in that water. And the fish, to migrate upstream, they like to find that really smooth water. That signals to them that there's a way upstream.
Now with the Bocher's Fishway, shad and other fish can use this watershed to swim all the way to Lynchburg. Even with dams modified and fishways in place, the natural process of restoring shad populations could take a long time. This is where fish hatcheries come into play. Every spring, the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries catches shad that are full of eggs. The eggs are taken to hatcheries where they grow into small fry. This is not a new idea. The Pamunkey Indians have been working with shad since 1918.
We have a philosophy that if you take fish from the water, you should put some back. And that's what we try to do. We try to help with the restoration of the shad because they're being depleted.
Chief Cook not only hatches shad eggs, he says they're pretty good tasting too.
We eat the eggs. They don't look like this when we eat them. They come in a little sack, but like that, and you fry them up. It's called shad roe, really good. You can mix them with eggs too. You know, like a hen egg and have fish egg, hen egg and a fish egg. You don't think they taste good?
The students snap on their life jackets and head out for a fishing adventure.
You got it. You got it.
Early evening is a good time to catch American shad. Using drift nets, watermen catch shad that are ready to spawn.
There's a girl for you.
All right. Yeah. Hey, all right.
There you go.
Hey.
Come on back.
Ew, they're pretty. That was talking.
Big.
Oh, for real. Oh, they do look like they're talking.
That's what you think. Yeah, that fish is bigger than you are, you know?
The fish are taken to a floating dock on the side of the river, where the real fun begins.
Alrighty, what you want to do, get a good grip on the tail,
Yes.
put the head up kind of
Hey guys,
up on your hip like this, and you want to go, put pressure down this. Don't see these right here?
Yes.
These are called scoots. Don't run your hand back that way because you'll cut yourself. Make sure your hand, as long as you go that way, you're not going to cut yourself.
Okay.
So come up, come down, take your hand away, come down. Grab the hand, get your hand around there, good. Okay.
Making shad can be a cold and slimy, but necessary business. Everyone gets a chance to squeeze a fish.
I'm gonna help. Come on, take that hand.
Grab your tail with your right hand.
Right there. All right, there you go. Hold on. Whoa. There you go. There you go. All
Very
right.
Good. Good. Keep it over the bowl.
Good going. Good shot.
Good. Very good. Hard. Squeeze hard.
Squeeze hard. There it goes.
There you go. Hard, real hard. Real
What
hard.
does it feel like?
Slimy.
Good. Squeeze it hard.
Squeeze hard.
Squeeze hard.
Nasty.
All right, what we've got here, we've got a bowl full of eggs, and we're doing the last few males here. And if you notice, we dry off these fish as we squeeze them. We want to try to keep as much water out of the bowl as possible because the water is what activates the sperm. And we only have about 30 seconds after that sperm is activated for the sperm to find an egg. So we want to put the eggs and sperm in here together and mix them thoroughly and then activate it with the water, thus increasing the fertility rate. As you can see, we only get a few drops from a lot of these males, but sperm goes a long way. It's pretty potent stuff. You'll see when I mix this together. Now we're ready to mix the eggs and sperm, and watch how much the sperm will spread out. See how it really goes a long way.
The 200,000 eggs in this bowl could theoretically produce 190,000 shad. That's a lot of fish.
Not all of those eggs are going to be fertilized.
No, we're not going to be perfect, but we're going to be in the upper 90%. Whereas in the wild, that's the reason one of the reasons that we do this. In the wild, it's about 5 to 30% of the eggs get fertilized. And doing it in a controlled environment like here, we can get that up to 95, 98, 99%.
Water is added to activate the sperm, and the next generation of shad to travel the James River watershed is born. As soon as the eggs are fertilized, they're off by boat and truck for a quick trip to the hatchery. At the hatchery, the eggs are placed in specially designed jars. With shipments of eggs arriving day and night, hatchery manager Chris Dallum has a lot of work to do.
We will have received, I think, up to 25 million eggs in a season. We've put out our maximum output in one season has been, I believe, it's 11.2 million.
After about 6 days, the eggs are carefully stirred with a turkey feather, and almost instantly the eggs turn into fry.
Stirring with a turkey feather agitates all the eggs. The light also shocks the eggs. And when things go well, in about the same amount of time as it takes to cook a batch of popcorn, 90% or better of that jar will hatch. I'd like the children to know that there are institutions and people that care about the environment, do in fact care to the point of creating a facility like this one for the purpose of trying to help out nature, or better put, trying to reduce the impacts that humans have on nature.
The fry are marked with a chemical that colors a ring in their ear bone, called the otolith, giving each hatch a unique identity.
All those fry that are produced here are tagged. When we tag them, it IDs those fish not only as coming from King and Queen Fish Hatchery, but what river their progeny has come from and where they were stocked.
When the fish are 4 to 7 days old, they're placed in tanks and loaded on a truck to be stocked in the James and other Virginia rivers.
Well, hopefully they'll be back in 3 to 5 years.
Our students end their shad adventure on the Upper James,
Who knows?
where they add a few more baby shad to the river and wish them well on their long journey to the sea and back.
We're very fortunate that God gave us this opportunity to be good stewards of His environment. All right. And gang, I guess we did our part to help bring these fish back.
I like helping out at the shad because I know that the population was going down, but now I'm helping it to come back up and tell the history.
My name is Tiana Upshaw, and I'm in the 7th grade. And I learned that there's more than one kind of fish that goes to the river. And my favorite fish was a Flathead Catfish because it's amazing how big it was and how it looked, how ugly it was. And that's all.
Well, I learned that fish are out there and I need to care for them more than I do now.
My name is Eric. I'm in 6th grade. I learned that how much certain fish weigh and how they look.
Janae Brooks. I'm in 5th grade, and I like when we help the shad population grow because it was down.
Well, I've got to say, I am really impressed with the job that these gentlemen are doing, and I'm just very happy that our kids had an opportunity to actually see what I believe is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This technology is just absolutely phenomenal. And in addition to that, the wonderful work that these gentlemen are doing to try to save the species, a species with such, historical value to it. They're doing a great service to the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm just very happy to be part of it. This is phenomenal work here, and this is a great opportunity to expose kids to career choice that many kids may not even have had an opportunity to even be exposed to. So this is a great career choice, kids. So if you're thinking and looking for something to do after college, you might want to get up with these guys here and go to work for the State Department of Game and Inland Fisheries.
The part that I liked about this project is that we're able to come out here instead of sitting at home and do something fun.